How to play fingerstyle or fingerpicking guitar, Book 2, Lesson 7. How to play Allegro in A minor, opus 50, number 13, by Mauro Giuliani, the extended version. If you're new to this channel, or you found the video through a search, it's worth me pointing out that this is part of a complete guitar course. So if you find this lesson too advanced, you can go through all the lessons from the beginning of Book 1 by following the links down below in the description to the playlist for Book 1 and Book 2. And you can get all the tablature completely free at www.ebooks4guitar.com. And if you're following the course but are unfamiliar with this tune, I did upload a video where I played it several times, so you could get used to the sound. But if you missed that video, no worries, because here it is being played first of all, free time. Allegro in A minor, opus 50, number 13, by Mauro Giuliani. Right, before we start playing the tune, let's take a look at an overview. The name of the tune, Allegro, means fast and bright, so it's really how the tune should be played. And the tune is 4/4 time, meaning there's 4 crotchet beats per bar. Interestingly, to get the Allegro feel, the tune isn't played at a fast beats per minute count. It's actually somewhere between 70 and 90 beats per minute. The speed of the tune is attained by using quarter beats, so there's 16 notes in every bar. You can easily see this demonstrated in the tablature by seeing there's 16 notes in the first bar, and in most bars. This is the extended version of the tune, but it doesn't introduce much that isn't in the original tune. Basically, it's just a repeat. So, if you want to practice the traditional arrangement, you just have to play the second page. I've marked the starting point with a red V above the tablature. The tune consists of 2 or possibly 3 fingerpicking patterns. The main pattern is played throughout the tune, and the second fingerpicking pattern is played only in the bridge sections. However, if you take a closer look at the first fingerpicking pattern, which we play in bar 1, it could be interpreted as being 2 separate fingerpicking patterns. But all of this is academic really, as we've already learnt all 3 patterns in Book 1 of this course. Right, let's start learning the tune. How to play Allegro in A minor by Mauro Giuliani. Something I need to point out first that's really important, and that is that to play this tune, you really have to use partial chords. trying to play complete chords really makes the tune hard to play. We're obviously going to start at the beginning with the first bar, but we'll cut the first bar in half and play the first half of the first bar, just so we can get that finger picking pattern. And the first pattern we're looking at is P, I, M, I, A, I, M, I, or primary, index, middle, index, annular, index, middle, index. Here's that finger picking pattern being played using an A minor chord, and it's at a relatively slow 55 beats per minute with a 2-bar introduction. Here that is again at the same speed with a 2-bar introduction. If you think you're ready, try and play along with it. Here that is again slightly faster at 60 beats per minute. Here that is again one last time, but slightly faster again at 65 beats per minute. What we've just done is what I'd encourage you to do at home, because this piece eventually should be played very quickly. So start off slowly and then slowly increase the speed until you can't play it anymore. Then practice that for a while and then try to slowly increase the speed again later on. I'll put some metronome beats at the end of this video to practice with, and they'll be at 45, 55, 65 and 70 beats per minute, as well as some backing tracks. Really, once you get beyond sort of 60 to 65 beats per minute, I wouldn't bother with the metronome. I'd just try to speed it up without a metronome. Right, let's bring the first bar together. And to do this, we'll start by playing the A minor chord as a partial chord with the first and second finger. But then when we come to the second half of the bar, we'll remove the first finger but leave the second finger in place. Here's that being played very slowly at 45 beats per minute, just showing the fingering hand. For this tune, we'll have a 1-bar introduction, even though it sounds like 2 bars, but it's just the way the drums are. The drum beats take a little getting used to because the 1 bar sounds like 2. So here's what the drum beats sound like with a count over the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, back to the first bar, and here it is being played again with a 1-bar introduction at 45 beats per minute, but this time I'll show both hands. Try to play along if you think you're ready. Here that is again with a 1-bar introduction again, in case you want to try and play along. And here that is again, one last time at that speed. Here that is again, more quickly, at 55 beats per minute. Try and play along if you think you're ready. Here that is again, one last time, but this time at 60 beats per minute. You will have noticed we've spent an awful long time on bar 1, and this is just to get the finger picking pattern. Once you've got the finger picking pattern, the following bars will be a lot easier. So let's take a look at bar 2. Bar 2 is using exactly the same finger picking pattern, but the primary finger isn't playing the A string this time, it's playing the D string. And this is because we're playing a complete D minor chord, or at least for the first half of the bar. In the second half of the bar, you leave the second finger in place, but remove the other two fingers. Let's see that being done at a very slow 45 beats per minute, just showing the fingering hand. To play that, I played the D minor chord for the first half of the bar. Then I removed the first and third finger and used these to play the moving bass line in the second half of the bar. Here that is again at a slow 45 beats per minute, and I'll show both hands this time. Try to play along if you think you're ready. Here that is again, one last time at 45 beats per minute. Let's try that one last time, but this time faster at 55 beats per minute with one bar introduction. Try to play along if you think you can. Right, let's bring the first two bars together and play the entire first line. If you think you need to pause the video here to practice for a bit, do so. Otherwise, here it is at 45 beats per minute with a bar introduction. Here that is again at the same speed. If you think you can, try and play along. If you manage to play that at 45 beats per minute, let's try it a little bit faster at 55 beats per minute. If you're not ready to speed it up yet, don't worry, just learn the whole tune and then you can speed it up in your own time. Here that is one last time before we move on to bar 3. Once you can play line 1, you should have a good feel for the rest of the tune. And line 1 actually repeats 4 times throughout the tune, so you've already learnt to play a good portion of the tune. Right, let's move on to bar 3, which, if you just look at the finger picking pattern, it's exactly the same as bar 2, and you're even playing the same strings. However, this time you're playing a partial E chords right the way up until the last 2 notes. Here's what bar 3 looks like, just showing the fingering hand. If you need to practice that for a moment, pause the video here. Otherwise, here that is again, but this time showing both hands. Try and play along if you think you're ready. If you think you're ready, let's try that bar again a couple more times, but this time speeded up to 55 beats per minute with a bar introduction. And here that is again, one last time. Right, let's take a look at bar 4, and then we can bring the first 2 lines together. This bar has a different finger picking pattern than the first 3 bars, but it's exactly the same pattern that we did in the first exercise, because the finger picking pattern is identical to the first half of the previous 3 bars. It's just played twice. There's no walking bass line in this bar, so we just play 2 chords. And we play the A minor with a C bass as a partial chord, but we play the E7 with a B bass as a complete chord. Here's what that bar sounds like, being played slowly at 45 beats per minute. As usual, if you want to pause the video here to try that a couple of times, you can. Otherwise, here it is being played again at 45 beats per minute with the bar introduction. Here that is again at a faster 55 beats per minute. Try to play along if you think you're ready. And here that is again, one last time at the same speed. Try to play along if you think you're ready. Right, let's try and bring those first 2 lines together at a nice slow 45 beats per minute with a bar introduction. Try and play along if you think you're ready. Let's try that again at the same speed, but if you have to pause the video here, do so and just practice those first 2 lines before moving on. Here's the first two lines again, one last time, but this time at 55 beats per minute. Try to play along if you think you can. Moving on from the first two lines, the third line you've already learnt because it's identical to line 1. So we'll move on to line 4, which is completely different and consists of chords. Bar 1 of line 4 is just an A minor chord, and then at the beginning of bar 2 of line 4 you remove the first finger to create an A minor ninth. Or you could call this an A add 9 if you prefer. Both names refer to the same shape. And the final chord in the last half of the second bar of line 4 is just a partial E, which you can play with the first finger. So you can see both the finger picking patterns and the chords is nothing that you haven't done previously in the course. So this line should be fairly easy. Here's line 4 being played at a slow 45 beats per minute. And here that is again at the same speed with the bar introduction. Try and play along if you think you're ready. Here that is again, slightly faster at 55 beats per minute. Try and play along if you think you're ready. Right, let's bring what we've learnt so far together and try and play the first 4 lines at a nice slow 45 beats per minute. Try and play along if you think you're ready. Right, let's try that again, but this time at 55 beats per minute. Don't worry if it's too fast for you for now. Just continue learning the tune and then you can build up the speed over time. Right, let's move on to line 5. And we'll do this as a complete line because you just repeat the first bar. So you're playing the same thing twice. And this line is quite unique in respect to this tune, in that it has a different finger picking pattern, and it only actually exists in the extended version. So if you just want to learn the traditional arrangement, you don't need to learn this line. Looking at the chord names above the first bar, you'd think there were 4 chords. However, really there's only 2, as the other 2 chords are created by adding and subtracting notes accordingly. Let's take a look at the fingering hand so you can understand what I'm explaining here. Firstly, we start by playing a partial A minor. Then we go to the A minor with a C bass, which we played earlier in the tune. Then we move to a partial E, or E7. Then we add the 4th finger to the 3rd fret of the B string to create the second version of the E7. Finally, we just repeat that bar we've just played once more. Here's that line being played at a nice slow 45 beats per minute, so you can hear what it sounds like. You'll probably need to practice that line first before you try playing along, but here it is again anyway, at 45 beats per minute with the bar introduction. Here that is again, but slightly faster at 55 beats per minute. With this line, you've completed the first page of the tune, or the first 5 lines. So if you want, you can recap up to that point. We'll do that now at 45 beats per minute and 55 beats per minute. Otherwise, you can skip on to the next section of the lesson, because you've only got the last 1.5 lines to learn, and you will have covered the entire tune. Here's the first page being played then at 45 beats per minute with the bar introduction. Here that is again, one last time, but this time at 55 beats per minute. Hopefully you've got a good idea how to play the first page now, and the second page repeats the first page down to the fourth line. So we just have to learn the last 1.5 lines and then you've got the complete tune. This last line and a half should be really easy because you've played every single chord variation during this tune, and the last bar uses 2 chords you used in the last tune, the Allegro. Even so, let's take a very quick look at the fingering hand just to make sure you fully understand what you have to do. We start with a partial A minor, then move across to the E7 with the 4th finger on the B string. Then we go back to the partial A minor, and this time we move to the partial E with just 1 finger on the guitar. Then back to the A minor again, and then the E7 again, back to the A minor again, and finally it's just another E7. Now for the last bar, we play the E7 as we did in the previous tune, which is just like a D7 but taken up to the 4th fret. The final chord is an alternative A minor, which we play by covering the top 3 strings with the 1st finger in the 5th fret. Here's that last line and a half being played at 45 beats per minute. And here that is again, in case you want to try and play along with me. Here that is one last time with the usual bar introduction at 55 beats per minute. Try and play along if you think you're ready. And that's it. You've covered the entire tune. But before we try to bring the entire tune together, I'll just explain that at the end of this video, as well as the metronome beats, there's some backing tracks, which create a more contemporary feel to the tune. And I won't explain it through, but there's going to be 3 different speeds for the backing track, and you can try and play along with that once you've learnt to play the tune. Before I play through the tune at 45 beats per minute and 55 beats per minute, I'll play it through first with the backing track, just so you know what it should sound like eventually. Here's the tune being played through at a nice slow 45 beats per minute and a bar introduction in case you want to try and play along with me. Here that is again, one last time, slightly faster at 55 beats per minute. Remember when you're learning this tune that you really want to get it as fast as you can, but you want to do this over a period of time. Here it is then with a 1 bar introduction in case you want to try and play along. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you're new to the channel, or if you've not subscribed yet, please like, subscribe and hit the bell icon, because it really helps to support the channel. If you haven't got the tablature for this tune yet, you can get it in PDF format, along with books 1 and 2 of the GCH Guitar Academy Fingerstyle guitar course at www.ebooks4guitar.com, and it's completely free. Hopefully you'll visit the channel again soon. Here's the metronome beats and backing tracks.